Hey everybody, it's Rob Appell. Welcome to Sew Well, a special edition because yes, you were not only inside of my home, but today is my personal Sew Special sewing space. We're gonna go inside of my special sewing room and I'm gonna show you not only where I make the quilts, but also where I make the videos. Let's get started. That's right. Before we run into the studio, I will point out that the studio is basically the old master bedroom, which is right off of our living room, which is wonderful because I can be inside of this space and still participating in everything that's going on around the house. And that I really, really love. So check this out. So this part, you're probably all fairly familiar with. This is the set as you see it. And every now and again, I will swing the studio cam around this way so you can also see the long arm on the other side, which I don't use very often. So that is one of the things I've been trying to do in this room. And so that is one of the goals, is to be set up so that I can do all kinds of different filming in here. And so yes, I am using some pretty nice Canon DSLR cameras like I'm recording on right now. There's two of those. There's the side camera, and then over here is the main camera. And the main camera hangs from a rack, I will show you here in a second, and has this monitor system because I do all of the filming by myself. And so this is how I can tell what's going on in and around the room. Plus I have a couple of iPhones. One hangs nicely as my overhead camera. The other one sits on the sewing machine for that really close-up shot. And that's how I film, but I also sew in this room. Let me show you some of the equipment. So yes, I am a Juki ambassador. I have been for years and was before I got involved with Stitchin Heaven, who also sells Bernina and the Handy Quilter. But this is the DX 3000 QVP. A lot of people ask what this machine is. It's a multi-purpose machine. As I was saying before, I use an iPhone right here to go ahead and film that type needle shot. And then across the room where that monitor is the big industrial machine. That's the Juki J150. And that machine is really incredible. I love it for doing binding. And then just on a slow pan around the room, you can see I do have a Juki J350. That's on a 7-foot frame based on the space that I have over here. And this space I have over here is kind of another portion of the set. So behind the main door into the room is actually where I keep all of the dead bodies, I mean the luggage and suitcases and travel cases. So tons and tons of quilts in all of these cases, camera bags ready to rock and roll. I've got my yoga mat. Also have a FOF embroidery machine that I use over here for making quilt labels. It's up on top of my McCall's filing cabinet. Now the McCall's filing cabinet is my personal stash, right? So this is where I keep most of like my sea life fabrics or my sky fabrics and a lot of the things that are my personal stash. I will not be opening the other drawers because I only organized the closet. I did not organize my stash. So let's go see that closet. So you know at Stitchin Heaven here on YouTube, we have a bunch of other wonderful Sew Special Sewing Spaces videos where a bunch of other fantastic designers and teachers are sharing with you how they sew. And one of the important things for us is to share with you what is special about our sewing spaces. So one of the things that I love about this room is it is set up for filming and sewing, but I'm really sewing in here a lot. So this is the design wall that you see in the videos, but the way this is constructed is it's a piece of that 1-inch thick hard insulation board that you would buy at like a Home Depot or Lowe's, something like that, wrapped in batting, wrapped in flannel that's been pinned around the backside. And then I just used some of this lumber. It's just some 2x2 that I grooved a groove out on the back so I could put it up on the wall. And that's what holds it there in place. And so I can put pins straight into it. The flannel holds the blocks or the units I need up on the wall. You see me use it a lot and I really like it. Now the one disadvantage is, and you probably heard this in many other things quilting related, it's just not big enough, right? So I wish it was a larger space, but it works fantastic for this. Right behind here is actually the walk-in closet, and the walk-in closet is the other place that I think is pretty cool. Years ago, I was overwhelmed with how do I store fabric? How do I stay organized, especially when I'm working on maybe 4, 5, 6 different projects for videos at a time. When you make video projects, sometimes you're waiting for supplies, so you have to be able to work in parts and pieces. Maybe you didn't notice, but let me show you. Over here on the bed of the quilting machine. Right now it stores better, or stands better as a storage unit than a quilting machine, because I have the different things I'm working on right now phased out. So it does work as a good workbench as well as a fantastic quilting machine. But here is this walk-in closet that I love so much. So I was plagued with, how do I get things organized? So what I want to be able to do was be able to have things move in and out, where I could keep a bunch of fabrics, pattern pieces, and everything all organized, but per project. And I'd seen folks doing this on baking sheets, but I didn't have the space. So I came up with the idea where I could use like plastic bins like you see here. And then these are just mounted to these metal brackets. The metal brackets are all adjustable on the wall so that you can literally just stack and stack. So you can see here, I've got some of my solids, I've got some of my textures, and I also have filming gear, costumes, green screen, all of that kind of stuff. So the walk-in closet is really awesome, because one of the other things I really had to do was figure out a way in my little bedroom here that I could rig microphones and lights and cameras and everything else overhead, because there wasn't enough room for sewing and like all of the tripods. So I was tripping over stuff all of the time. So I built this overhead rack system using those wooden closet rods, the doweling. And now you can see, not only do I have an obsession for hats, but I have this wooden rail that runs all the way around the studio, allowing me to mount all kinds of different stuff overhead to make the sewing room work both effectively for things like that and awesome for things like that. When I built my table that you see me sewing on, not only did I build it elevated with a split, so this has got to pass through all the way for cables, things like computers are stored underneath here, remote controls, rulers, and all of that, like on the other side of the room. But it's also built on a series of 4 different filing cabinets with different size drawers. And so I've got like sewing notions over here, I've got some shipping supplies over here, I've got some office supplies over there. Same with on the other side. I've got all of these wonderful workspaces already set up under the table, and the filing cabinets themselves act as the stand for the whole table. I built it on wheels, but everything got so heavy that it can't move anyways. But that was the original second half of the idea. Here's something else I love about my sewing space, not only for the video quality, but just for the fun of it. I turn these lights on all the time, but I don't know if you've noticed, but I have lights inside of the cabinet over here, and this is to help the room look pretty, but control the different colors that go on within the set. But I also wanted to point out, a while ago, I found an old box of some leftover flooring, like laminate floorboards. So you think I've got this beautiful wooden wall, but really I've got an old plaster wall in here, and maybe you can even see there's a few lines that have been drawn along the top, so I can help try to keep the quilts straight. And then on this side of the set, I actually have built myself this really cool, it's a piece of plywood, made a triangle out of it, and I put those, also the LED lights inside of it. And so this piece here is actually movable, so when I change the size of the quilts that goes on the wall behind me, I can actually adjust this to make a really nice frame that captures beautifully when I'm doing the actual tutorial. So I thought that was pretty cool, especially hanging up the brand new Sew Well Synergy Remix quilt here. I can adjust the colors inside of the light box here to match the quilt, which I think is pretty dang terrific. Also just added the new, well, not new, the Featherweight to the set, because I love having this old antique sewing machine around. I use it often actually, and I really want to get out on the road and do more sewing education. And so this may be becoming one of our tools as we get out there and do some more stuff. So anyways, the sewing machine is here. If you've been watching some of the other tutorials I've been putting out, I've been doing a lot of sewing machine maintenance and troubleshooting in regards to tensions and threads and free motion quilting and those kinds of things. So anyways, I'm very proud to be here at Sew Well, and having the Featherweight back on the set with me is really fun as well. I also like to goof around with the guitar from time to time. So here in the studio is where I keep the amp, the pedal board, and the electric guitar. Now, quick story about the electric guitar. This was one I actually made myself from a fairly inexpensive build your own guitar kit. As a professional quilt maker, artist, I have found that I need to have other things that I am terrible at artistically that help me just free up my mind and my time and my space. You know, that's what art really should be about, as a release. So anyways, I bought this guitar kit to learn how to do woodworking, and then that evolved into learning to get a lathe and wood turning and all kinds of stuff. But at one point, this was just a get out of this work space, out of my quilting space, go out in the garage and do something out of my head space. You know what I'm trying to say? And now here the guitar is back inside of my special space here. So anyways, yeah, I like to play guitar. So I've got a guitar here. You see another guitar over on the set, which is also another very special guitar for me. When I got my first royalty check after inventing the Shark applicutter, the rotary cutter, I went out and purchased this custom-made electric guitar, and it's got some really fun features to it. Love the way it sounds, but I also love the way it looks on the set. So it comes down from time to time, but for the most part, it's just there for all of our enjoyment. The rest of the work in the room really happens right over here at the command center. I do actually all my editing on a 15-inch MacBook Pro. I do use an extra monitor so that I can see more of the file footage. I also use my 12-inch iPad an awful lot for the drawing and the pattern editing and a lot of the different graphics that I do. So the three of these tools combined actually work real nice for creating the videos in here. So this is the room. This is where a lot of it happens. The sewing, the quilting, the video production, the video editing, and a lot of time. I get to spend a lot of time in here. I'm very, very blessed. And the long arming space is awesome. I'm just intimidated by it. Like I said, I use the long arm much more often as a table than I do for quilting. So that'll be my pledge to all of you throughout the years, to bring you over here a bit more and play and do some more motifs and designs and some more troubleshooting for all of you, because I just love being part of the Stitchin Heaven YouTube network with this new show called So Well, and having a blast. And I just wanted for all of my new friends out there to get to see how I really work in this wonderful sewing and filming environment here in my So Special So Space. So we will see you all real soon with another sewing or quilting tutorial. Until then, thanks for being here, everybody. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. It really helps support our channel. If you haven't subscribed, do so now. Hit the little button to be notified every time we go live or do a new video for all of you. And here's one from the past I think you'll really enjoy.